that the man accused of killing that nursing student in Georgia, not a U.S. citizen.
That's right. And we're also learning that the suspect did not know Laken Riley before the alleged murder.
Madeline Rivera has the latest this morning. Madeline.
Good morning, guys. Family and friends of 22-year-old Laken Riley mourning her death. Her sister writing in a post on Instagram, "The best sister and my built-in best friend from the very first second. This isn't fair and I will never understand it, but I know you are in heaven with the man you love most right now. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but it's all going to be for you from now on. I cannot wait to give you the biggest hug someday. I will miss and love you forever, Laken." Riley was a nursing student at Augusta University's Athens campus. She attended UGA until last spring. UGA's police department got a call from one of her friends Thursday saying she had gone for a run but had not come home. About 30 minutes later, police found her on the ground near the intramural fields with, quote, visible injuries and no pulse. Regardless, first responders tried to revive her but were unsuccessful. Investigators say she was killed by blunt force trauma. Police have arrested Jose Antonio Ibarra in connection with her death. Ibarra is facing several charges, including malice murder, aggravated battery, and kidnapping. Authorities say Ibarra had no known connection to Riley and did not attend school at UGA.
Lives here in Athens, but is not a U.S. citizen. At this time, the investigation suggests that they had no relationship. He did not know her at all. I think this was a crime of opportunity where he saw an individual and bad things happen.
During the investigation, police approached Ibarra's brother because he matched the description of the suspect. They found his green card to be fake. Authorities, however, have not confirmed whether Ibarra is undocumented too, only saying he is from Venezuela. Guys, back to you.
Madeline, thank you very much. Let's get more insight on this from Tom Homan, former acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Fox News contributor. Tom, thanks for being here. I understand you're aware of some additional details, of some information about this case. What do you have for us?
Well, this guy entered the country illegally in September of 2022 under the Biden open border policy. He was released and paroled into the United States, like thousands of people are released every day by this administration. So he's here on parole. But look, let's be clear. He shouldn't be here. Under Trump administration, he'd be sitting in Mexico in the Remain in Mexico program, but they killed that program. Under Trump administration, we ended catch and release. So even if he wasn't staying in Mexico, when you enter the country illegally without documentation, the law says you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, you shall be detained. We ended the catch and release. He should at least be sitting in a nice detention facility. They failed him a third time because after entering the country, he committed a crime in New York City, injury to a child. His wife was arrested for possession of stolen property. Under Trump administration, he would have been taken back into custody for violating his terms of release. But in this administration, Secretary Mayorkas has told ICE, you can't arrest somebody being in the country illegally unless they're convicted of an aggravated felony. He wasn't convicted of injury to child. He's arrested, and injury to child is not an aggravated felony. This administration failed this family 3 times. This is another senseless, preventable death because of this open border.
Yeah, you know, Tom, back in the 2016 election, Donald Trump was really excoriated for saying, hey, they're not sending their best when they come across this border. I know among the Latino community, they're all talking about the fact that we know that during the Cuban situation, Castro would release a lot of prisoners. He didn't want to pay for them in his jails, and he let them free. Do we know if these if this young man was somebody who maybe was dumped out of a Venezuelan prison? We know their economy is suffering. Why would they want to keep paying for people like him to stay alive?
Here's the problem, Rachel. We don't know. Because when someone enters this country illegally from a different country, well, yeah, we run through NCIC, we run through III, our databases. In most countries, we don't have access to their criminal databases. So when people say they're vetted, they're fingerprinted, that's only as good as the information we have access to. So that is a problem. They're releasing thousands of people every day. We don't even know who the hell they are. They can give us any, they can give the name Tom Homan, and they got to accept it if they don't find a record. And most nations don't share their criminal data with us, especially Venezuela, who hates this country.
Right.
Tom, I'm going to put up with the charges he's facing right now in connection to Laken Riley's death. It's malice, murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, concealing the death of another. I just want to, as a point of clarification, Tom, you said there's 3 failures of the system under Joe Biden that led to the possibility of this crime. I certainly understood the last one, that he had already been arrested for a crime in New York City, and that crime did not lead to his deportation. Would you please just clarify for me the other 2 failures of the system under Joe Biden that should have caught Jose Ibarra before he allegedly murdered Laken Riley?
Remain in Mexico program was a game changer for the Trump administration. That moved illegal immigration to a 45-year low. That decreased illegal immigration to 83 to 90%. He should be sitting in Mexico waiting for his asylum hearing under Remain in Mexico program. It was the most effective policy I've seen in my 34 years doing this job. And they killed it because it's a Trump policy. Highest courts in the land said Remain in Mexico is legal. The second time, when they released him into the United States, the law clearly says, in arriving aliens, you enter the country legally without proper documentation. The law says this: you shall be detained. Shall. Not maybe. So that we ended catch and release on the Trump administration. We detained them like the law says. This administration not only ignored the law, they broke the law. And this was a part of the lawsuit that filed in Texas. This administration hasn't done a damn thing to slow the flow. And they refused to cause us a crisis for 3 years. Now all of a sudden the president says crisis, Secretary Mayorkas says crisis. Why? Because they just put a bill out of the Senate, a terrible bill that would not have done anything to secure the border, because they're going to flip the script and say the Republicans' failure to sign this bill causes it prevented the border from being secure. Mark my word, the State of the Union address, President Biden's going to put this squarely on the Republicans because they didn't agree to sign this atrocious bill that wouldn't have done a damn thing to secure the border. This is about flipping the script, blaming Republicans, because this is the #1 issue that voters are concerned about, and they're in a panic mode. They haven't done a damn thing, and all of a sudden we're a few months away from the election, and all of a sudden they act like they care. This young lady suffered a terrible death, a violent death, fighting for her life. Another U.S. citizen family is going to bury their child because of this open border. I've met thousands of angel moms and dads. You never get used to it. I couldn't sleep last night. Imagine what her family's going through. They're going through hell because this government has failed them. We got to get to the voting booth in November and get these people the hell out of power and secure this border and protect lives. We got to save lives, and you do that by securing the border.
This all matters because this was entirely preventable. And Tom, you laid out 3 ways in which it was. By the way, the brother of this suspected killer also charged with pushing a fraudulent green card. You wonder how many of those are floating around, of course. And also the brother who tried to help the murderer suspect has also been arrested 3 times by Athens law enforcement before. So the other thing is, Tom, semantics are really important. So the media will say time and time again, well, not a citizen. But not a citizen could means ultimately he's here on asylum. But if this asylum claim is bogus, then he broke the law and came here illegally. So we'll watch the media very carefully as they try to paint this as something other than illegal enters country, kills citizen.
Tom, thanks so much for being with us this morning and shining light on this story. Appreciate your perspective.
Can I just say, guys, this young lady was on campus. A campus that hasn't seen anything like this and, haven't seen a murder in that area in 20 years. So she was in a place that she thought was safe on her campus jogging. I can't believe that this has happened. And I'm with Tom saying, I don't know how this family's going to get through this knowing that this was.
I want to know so much more. I want to know about this brother. Is the brother here on legal status? Brother's been arrested 3 times. Athens law enforcement.
They said they let him go because he said that he was he couldn't be deported because he's afraid of the circumstances back there. He's under threat. So they let him go.
Here we go.